Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to my new channel, Astrology Vibrations. I'm Lalit, and I'm going to be describing to you today what you're seeing on the screen is a chart for September 25th. And it contains all the elements we're going to be talking about because this is a very important time. I'm recording this on September 22nd, but it probably won't get posted until the 23rd. So we're talking about the current moment, and you'll be finding out near the end of this video why I'm calling it a tu Ivanka. Now I'm going to tell you basically what we're going to cover here in this video. We're going to be talking about the astrological events that will be occurring starting today, which for me it's September 21st. I'm running through the first part of November. And boy, is it a doozy. We have some major events happening. You're going to need to hold on to your hats. After I give you the basic rundown, which will affect us all as individuals, I'm then going to tell you about how these events are going to be affecting our dear former guy. You know, the great orange clown. Well, we're here for entertainment purposes only, right? And we have clowns. So before we get into that, as a word of introduction, I'd just like to welcome you. And if you're here for the first time, I want to invite you to try our group, which meets every Saturday at 3 p.m. for a live show. In that live show, you can participate and ask questions. And yes, I have the live broadcast for this week all set up and have tested everything. Seems to be all systems go, but I'm new at YouTube and I'm learning. I call our weekly show Astrology in Action, and I am giving away, yes, giving away free horoscope charts. Yeah, I'll say that again. You heard it right. I'm giving away free horoscope charts, including a printed basic interpretation. No strings attached. I won't send you junk mail or anything like that. I just want you to join our wonderful group where you can have your own chart in hand and learn what the astrological situation means for you individually. So, to get your free chart, you send me an email to Astrology Vibrations. That's just like the name of my channel, but with no space or punctuation. astrologyvibrations@gmail.com. And you're going to say in this email, please send me my free chart so I know what you are writing about. You must include your date, time, and place of birth. If you don't know the time of your birth, say, I don't know the time. In that case, I have to make your solar chart, which is less precise and has less details. Now, I have entered this information in the description below this video, but I'm a newbie at YouTube and I'm worried that info might get taken down or something. So I'm just learning to enter titles and stuff. So as time goes by, I'll learn to make better videos for you. But if you need to, you can always rewind this to write down that email address. All right, we just got to the good part now. I'm going to start by addressing the overarching astrological reality. That is to say, the big picture, which is that we are in a transition to a new astrological age. You've all heard of the age of Aquarius. So we're beginning to feel the birth contractions of the age of Aquarius and the death throes of the age of Pisces, which we are leaving. Each astrological age lasts approximately 2,000 years. We don't have time to explain that here. We're getting into more of that on our Saturday group. But to sum it up, the Roman civilization had to end for the age of Pisces to begin. symbolized by the birth of Christ. Christ's symbol was the fishes. It's no coincidence that Pisces' symbol is also fishes. And the people born in each age have particular lessons to learn in the soul of schools here on planet Earth. The lessons of the age of Pisces that Christ taught in their highest expression, of course, have not been fully learned, but those lessons will be transmuted when the vibrations of Aquarius and its ruling planet begin to predominate. We feel the inklings of it now, and the things that Christ aimed for will become more manifest on the earth. That is, there's the need for humanitarian ideals and the knowledge that we are becoming a global society, that we're all expressions of the one, and we are all connected. We will see great advancements in practical things like universal health care and education, the end of hunger, the nurturing and protecting of our precious planet and its resources. There are those that are resisting this change. It's a big change, and some people are afraid of losing their personal power. And we're seeing the signs of that battle all across the globe, and it's painfully evident here in America, but this change is inevitable. So have no fear. It's useless for people to resist. And I want you to all be confident that the future is really very bright for humanity. It's hard for us to see that and have faith in it, but believe. And now, in this transition, we're in scary times. So when a moment of weakness strikes and you feel afraid and uncertain, take a deep breath. Imagine yourself 5 miles high above the surface of the earth, very far away from personal problems and conflict. Remember the words of Shakespeare, "All the world's a stage." I want you to contemplate the meaning of those profound words, and it's no accident that I titled this video with words from the Shakespeare play, Julius Caesar. In astrological cycles, each cycle is not like a circle exactly repeating the cycle before. No, it's more like a spiral with similarities, but on a different level. So the death of the Roman Empire is similar to the transition we're going through here now, but on a different level of the spiral. And I want you to think about the play that is occurring right now. And you actually bought a ticket to this play. You came to the play. Why? Why are you here, you may ask. Do ask. It's important to know that. You are here because of a personal contract that you yourself made. Why did you make that contract? Ask yourself during this period of strife that we are entering. What lessons am I here to learn? How am I supposed to be serving humanity? Each person's life is like a puzzle piece, and every piece is equally important to the whole. Astrology can help you get a perspective on this and understand the purpose and timing of the major lessons you are here to learn. We talk about this for you individually in the Saturday class. Here, we will be applying these principles to Donald Trump. So, starting from today, which for me is September 21st, running through the first part of November, here are the astrological highlights. And I do mean highlights because what is happening, that we cannot cover it all. There's so much. I'm going to be circling the map with my little pointer here because I haven't learned how to use the draw program on the computer so I can show you. So I'm going to have to circle events with the pointer. I'm getting that ready. So we're going to start with the context or the backdrop to this tumultuous 6 or 7 weeks that's starting. Right now, we have an incredible 6 planets retrograde. Let's start over here with the closest one to the sun, Mercury retrograde. You've heard about that. People talk about that. But there are 5 others. In fact, the only ones not involved in retrograde are Venus and Mars. Here are the other ones that are retrograde. Uranus, it's here in Taurus. Jupiter, here in you see in Aries, it's retrograde. Neptune in Pisces, it's here retrograde. Oh my gosh, Saturn, here in Aquarius, we're going to be talking about this a lot. And Pluto, last but not least, in Capricorn, also retrograde. We have an incredible 6 planets retrograde. I don't have time here to really explain how retrograde motion happens, but what's important is, what does that mean for us? It's an easy and very logical concept, really. When a planet slows down and from our perspective reverses direction, it's going backwards. And in our lives, things can appear to be backpedaling. And it's time that our lives can hit major obstacles and stop our forward motion. So it's time to reflect on the decision we've recently made, honestly evaluate what we've done, and see if maybe we need to make some adjustments. Because we seem to be backpedaling and things just aren't working and nothing is moving in the direction we want. So in other words, it's time we all step back, take a deep breath, and honestly reevaluate. I'm going to say that again. Take a deep breath and honestly reevaluate your situation. The choices you make in this period are seminal. That is why. They are like seeds you are sowing, and later you will reap those seeds. So make sure you take out any seeds that are weeds that are mixed in with your good seeds, so that you only sow that which is valuable to you. Eliminate the garbage. Do it relentlessly. So of the only 2 planets that are not retrograde are Venus and Mars, and this is so highly unusual. I want you to know 75% of the planets are retrograde. It's so remarkable, but you've noticed how weird things are. So this is like the backdrop and the set of our play. It will give us context, and against this backdrop, we're going to talk about several big astrological events coming up now. We're already feeling them. The equinox is occurring in a couple days. It's occurring a little bit late this year. It's going to be September 22nd. Aha, yes, that might be the day you're watching this video. This video is actually being posted on September 22nd, and the equinox occurs about 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's Thursday. Some of you may be watching this video at that very moment, and the equinox is always a powerful and symbolic moment of beginning a new cycle. The sun enters the sign of Libra, and this year it's more powerful than ever. Here it is on the chart. I'd like you to see the sun and the moon together, and they are in the sign of Libra. It's combining forces with the new moon. That is, the equinox and the new moon are happening very close together. So this is actually the chart of the lunation, or the new moon in Libra. I cast it so that the moon is just about to hit the sun, just about to begin the new moon, not just moments before the new moon. It's occurring in between 2 and 3 degrees of Libra on September 25th, as I said, 2:54 p.m. Pacific time. This chart is cast for actually 2:30, about 20 minutes before the new moon. So everybody mark your calendars. The equinox and the new moon lunation are so close together that the energies are blended, and they are already being felt right now as I speak. And these energies will last for the complete lunar cycle, that is, until the next new moon, almost a month. And this is all in the sign of Libra. Picture the lady with the scales. We know, of course, what that represents: balance, justice, harmony, and equity. We can now see the wheels of justice turning slowly. There's an obvious sign of this with Letitia James today just announced a long-awaited announcement, and there are other legal imbroglios, almost too numerous to count, and believe me, it is just the beginning. You ain't seen nothing yet. And don't think for an instant that you've seen it all. Nope. There are going to be major surprises and shakeups in the immediate future, and we will be experiencing these dramatic events all the way to the first part of November, which is the time period we are discussing here. So we're going to go through some details into November and even into December a little bit. So we're not implying that the changes suddenly stop in November. No, not at all. More on that later. But the quality of the energy will change around the first week or two. And don't worry, though. We won't be lacking in drama. Nope. Right now, you're feeling the beginning of another major astrological event, which is impossible to gloss over, and that is the Saturn. We just talked about Saturn. I'm going to circle it here in this chart. It's right on the ascendant in Aquarius, retrograde Saturn. And Saturn is entering into a major aspect with the planet Uranus over here. You see the sign of Uranus, and it's in Taurus. Notice the little red line that goes from Saturn to Uranus. That's called a square. 90-degree angle between planets is called a square. And what does that mean, you might ask? Well, a square is trouble, conflict, challenges, and problems. It is really challenging, difficult to say it the nice way. It is horrible and catastrophic. Let's say it. And what's happening is Saturn embodies the immovable object, limitations, restriction. It slows everything down. Think of Saturn as a very slow-moving freight train, which is so heavy it can barely move. And it's in a square or challenging, difficult aspect with Uranus, which embodies the qualities opposite to Saturn. While Saturn is a immovable object, Uranus is the unstoppable force. And Uranus represents dramatic and unexpected change. The Tower in tarot cards is one kind of Uranus experience. But the Uranus experience is not necessarily negative change, but it is unexpected and dramatic. I have a little image of the situation which might help you remember the nature of the Saturn-Uranus tug-of-war that we're experiencing now. Maybe you've seen the old classic movie Dr. Dolittle, where they had an unusual creature that was called the push-me-pull-you. If you didn't catch that movie, this creature, the push-me-pull-you, was looking like a llama, sort of, but it had a head at the front end, like llamas do, but another head at the back end. Thus, imagine the two heads were pointing in opposite directions, hence the name push me, pull you. And that is the sensation exactly of the energy at play of this Saturn-Uranus square. For a while, temporarily, Saturn wins the battle and everything grinds to a halt. Then Uranus prevails, and there's a sudden, dramatic, and unexpected change. And we go back and forth with this switcheroo, just like the push me, pull you. Now, because of this retrograde situation, the planets are in retrograde, and it's not the first time we've felt this happening, because Uranus and Saturn went into the square for the first time recently. For the whole year 2021 and into early 2022, we were experiencing that. It was the whole year of 2021 and early 2022, we were feeling this stuff. So you know what I'm talking about. Then we had a little reprieve, and we thought it was gone for a while, a little bit of peace in the kingdom. And then the things went retrograde, and we started all over again. So we lived through it before. It seems like eons have passed, but now that Saturn and Uranus are back again with a vengeance, well, we have some good news. It's for the last time, because once this energy moves out, it will be gone, and it ain't coming back in this cycle. So the energy will reach a peak, that is the strongest angle of the square, the intensity, the high moment, will be reaching in October. And it's going to be amplified and exaggerated by this new moon cycle that we talked about and the equinox. And if that isn't enough, check this out. The planet Jupiter, also retrograde, is exactly halfway between Saturn and Uranus. Halfway. We call that in astrology the midpoint. And Jupiter is the great expander. It amplifies things, makes things grow, gets stronger. So imagining an expansion of the shift of this Saturn-Uranus thing, and making it stronger, more intensification, intense, like we need it more intense. But folks, I have to tell you, for our planet Gaia, this is the kind of thing that sparks earthquakes, because the earth has to release this energy which is building up, because it's too intense and too strong, and it has to be a release. And the earthquakes are the earthly effect that you can expect. Earthquakes will be sparked, and devastations and big storms, fires, and other natural disasters, because the earth is going to have to purge the intensity of this and ground the situation. Through these disasters and terrible things, the energy, the negative energy, is actually released for a grounding effect. But there's no glossing over this. I can't say it's not happening. So prepare yourselves, buckle up, and be aware that depending on your own horoscope, if you have areas in your chart that are activated by this thing, you may be experiencing dramatic changes in your own personal life. And this is the topic of discussion in our Saturday meetups, again at 3 p.m. Pacific on this Astrology Vibrations channel. Honestly, because of this situation, I felt a duty and a calling to start this channel, because if you're prepared mentally and spiritually, you will survive all this and come out the end a stronger, more spiritually evolved person. So I feel it's my duty to advise you of what's coming down the pike, so you can be better prepared and survive this near future, which is going to be a rough ride. The good news is that we will be getting a cosmic Christmas present. Remember, I said the Saturn and Uranus torture will peak in October, and then Saturn goes direct and starts moving slowly forward. October 23rd, you might feel a subtle and very subtle change. Gently, things will begin to move. And by Christmas of this year, this tortuous aspect of Saturn and Uranus is really fading once and for all. And the final curtain call for this aspect, it's gone for the foreseeable, for this cycle. That is, it's not coming back in my lifetime. And good riddance. You will definitely feel the cloud lifting and the energy changing. But I do have to warn you one thing. At this equinox that we're experiencing here in September, just the 25th and the lunation, and right around this time, this energy is going to be heating up, and that we've been just talking about all these things, and you're going to feel a speeding up. And gradually the things will appear to start moving faster. And you're going to feel that things are happening at the speed of light. So get ready for warp drive. And our starship that we're all riding on, this planet Earth, is going to enter warp speed, so fasten your seatbelts. If you can imagine being at a rodeo, we're like being at a rodeo, but the cowboy has just mounted the bucking bronco, and they're both still inside the stall. Pretty soon the gate will be open, and then hold onto your hats. We're in for a wild ride coming up. But remember, you bought a ticket to this show. Remember? And every once in a while, take a deep breath, look at the show from a distance and say, hey, this play is just too crazy to be realistic. It's not realistic. So who wrote it anyway? Well, we are all writing this together because we're studying at the Planet Earth Academy. Our guides and our spirit helpers say we get extra credit and move along faster because it's so dang hard. So you thought this was it, huh? But like Columbo used to say, just one more thing, because we got another thing here. Look at this. Check this out. I'm circling Mars. It's red here, the planet Mars. It's in Gemini. Mars is like a burst of energy. Energizing burst, throwing kerosene on the fire. It's going to throw kerosene on the fire, literally. And we're in the sign of Gemini, the realm of Mercury, communication in all its forms, everything to do with the mind. And it's, of course, retrograde. It will be, I misspoke. Mars is not right now retrograde, and neither is Venus. And these two things are square. Not retrograde, though, moving full speed ahead in this energizing little burst of a flamethrower is what we call Mercury. And Venus is our relationships and our search for harmony and justice. It's the search of justice. And believe me, if you look at these little red things, we have a square here. That's problems. We have a square here, and that's 90 plus 90, and that adds up to 180. That's called an opposition. All these red things, this is called a T-square. Basic astrology, T-square, bad. T-square formation is really trouble. It's bad. So this is bad news, and it's energizing. And it's involving also Neptune over here, the planet of deception. Like we need more deception and lies, confusion, lack of clarity. We don't need any more. This is going to be intense. And all of those are retrograde. To sum it up in plain English, lots of conflict, frayed nerves. We have deception, confusion, and Neptune is famous for a lack of clarity. So there's going to be a lot of argumentative behavior to spare. So any other questions? In astrology, listen, folks, this is a really important idea. In astrology, there's something called the rule of 3, and it goes something like this. If you have one strong astrological indication that some kind of particular event will occur, then there's a strong probability it will, but it's not a sure thing. Now, if you have 2 different indications that same event will occur, then the chances of it occurring are much stronger. Now, if you have 3 different indications, this is the rule of 3, 3 different indications that a particular event will occur, you can take it to the bank. Now, You've been my witnesses here. I've explained to you what's going on, and you've seen, hey, way more than 3 things. There's 27 ways until Sunday about what's happening. It's extremely complex astrological situation, and it reflects an extremely complex reality. And I've tried to make this moment in time as clear as possible for you astrologically, and you can repeat this video to listen again if you want to pick up more details. But you see, you haven't been imagining things. This is a really crazy, insanely crazy time that we're all living through. And simply put, you don't get more clear astrological forecasts than this. We all feel it globally. We will all feel these emotions that we're going through the next couple of months. We're going to feel it globally, yet each of us will have a unique experience of that in our own personal lives, depending on what parts of our individual horoscopes are directly triggered. So that's food for thought, and we have time for you to look at your own charts and see how it's affecting you. But right now, we're going to use this chart of Donald Trump. I'm going to switch over to Donald Trump, so we're going to show these things, how they trigger the points of Donald Trump to see how it's hitting him. And it's quite amazing to behold. I think you're going to be really interested in this. So let me put the chart of Donald on the screen. Give me just a sec. You are now looking at the horoscope of our former fearless leader, Donald Trump. And we're not going to do a horoscope interpretation of him. Rather, we're going to talk about how the things we were just discussing, the transits that we're all experiencing right now, are going to hit him and where they're going to hit him. So starting with the equinox, I'd like you to look over here. You can see when I'm circling the sign of Libra. If you'll remember, the equinox and the new moon are occurring in this sign of Libra. So we're going to start here and discuss this. The second house, this little wedge-shaped pie-shaped pie slice thing that is called the house. In this case, it's the second house. We start counting here. House 1, this is house 2. The house deals with the particular material aspects of our concrete life. So in this case, we're involving the second house for Donald. That's where the equinox and the new moon will hit him. The second house is the house relating to money, possessions, abundance. Sometimes it can refer to the abundance of our physical strength, but in any case, it's money and possessions. And you know this is Donald's focus, about where he has Jupiter as the planet where things are easy and expansive for him, and also Neptune, which is the planet, as we discussed. Neptune is the planet. Let me get the pointer over here on it so you can see it. I'm not sure I was circling it where you could see. Jupiter and Neptune are in his second house. It's where he's had good luck. Jupiter is the great benefic, the planet of good luck. This is where he's at it. Neptune is related to it, and he's been fooling people and cheating and lying all along. This is deception. So we want to see the aspects of today. So I drew in a sort of Mickey Mouse way on the outside of this natal chart some colorful representations of the planets that are current today. So here they are for you to see in all their glory. Looking at his second house again of Libra, you'll see what's happening on the 25th of September, and we're already leading into this. We have all these things hitting his second house. The new moon the equinox. We also have Mercury and Venus that are bombarding this house, and this is where he's going to feel it. This is where he's going to have a big hit in his money. Now, let's all think about that. For some of us, being in prison and losing our freedom would be the worst thing that could happen. But for Donald, losing his money and losing his possessions and losing his standing in life, which is located up here with the planet of Uranus. I don't know if you can see that circling around. I'm really apologizing. I didn't realize this was so hard to see. Let me see if let me get a look and see how. Are you able to see this little, okay, I'm making a little blurb here so that you can see Uranus. I want you to see it. There's Uranus. I'm making a little flash on it. This is, as we remember, the planet of dramatic, sudden, unexpected, unanticipated change. So Uranus for Donald is up here in the house of his standing in the world, and he has had a dramatic change, and he knows he's losing that. And he is panic stricken because he did not see that coming. That was unexpected to him. Now, remember that Uranus is in a negative aspect with Saturn. I'm going to try to highlight this Saturn so you can see it. I'm going blip, 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 like a little radar screen. There's Saturn. Limitations, difficulty, stress, and restrictions. And it's in his 6th house. This is his 6th house here of health right now. Health. This is a sign of him wasting away, and his physical strength is waning. He is on a big, deep physical downslide, and he is not recovering from this. Instead of recovering from this, the next thing that will happen to him is this, it's going to hit his Mars, and you know that means a real negative influx of energy that is just going to be devastating to him. And this is a killer kind of aspect. It's really, really negative. So Saturn and Uranus together in this negative aspect, hitting him like that, with Jupiter exaggerating everything and all of the lies and deception, all of this will affect his physical health, his standing in the world, and is going to bring him to his knees. When Saturn moves a little bit forward, it hits this major axis of his chart, the descendant, which is his, I'm going to try to make it show for you. This is his 7th house axis, where it's his partners, his relationships, partners in business, and it could be also his marriage, or one of the women he looks at almost as a marriage partner over here. And her name is in the title of this show. And you'll see that the women in his life, down here in the 4th house of his family, and the moon representing the mother and the wife and the feminine things in his life, are very negatively aspected with this transit of Mars in Gemini over his Uranus. Remember, sudden change. So this Mars of today is over his Uranus of when he was born. Sudden, dramatic, and this is a warlike aspect. Aggression, fighting. This is a world war for Donald, and it's going to hit him with this negative opposition to the moon from, there's the woman that everyone's been talking about for years, a woman that is going to bring him down. This woman looks like it's in his house. It's being triggered by Saturn in his 7th, will be in his 7th. We're talking about months down the road. This is after, when Saturn moves all the way over here, it's going to be after the new year, after the elections and into the early spring. This is when his relationships and his family and his fatherhood, this is his own fatherhood, the women in his life, his partners, are going to come stab him in the back. This is the sudden, unexpected thing that he did not see in his own sign of Gemini, communication. He is going to be hit unawares, suddenly, and he won't see it coming. And it's going to be such a big blow to his ego, which he cannot stand. And he's going to lose everything, be in financial ruin. And losing his little golden toity and all of the things associated with his lavish lifestyle is something Donald would rather die than have happen. So the worst thing for him is this loss of money, loss of power, loss of standing in the world, have the relationships in business that are his family relationships, especially with his daughter. He's going to feel stabbed in the back. And so we come full cycle to remind ourselves that in the history of Roman times, which is our parallel situation, the fall of the Roman Empire to where we are now, Julius Caesar was actually stabbed in the back by Brutus, who was his adopted son, the person who he felt closest to. And he said those words, "Et tu, Brute." Brutus has come to mean ugly and brutal. It means that in the Italian language, and also in most languages, brutal is horrible and violent, and brutal in Italian means really ugly. So his name has come down to mean that, but Julius Caesar really loved him, and the thing that was brutal for him is that it was the person that he most loved. And he did not see it coming. So we're sort of in a spiral of the arc. We're coming back to this lesson in history that we don't want to repeat this lesson anymore. Caesar was the ruler of the republic when he first came into power. It was a republic. And the senators discussed everything, and the Senate and the people ran Rome. They were not ruled by an emperor. And the Senate was in charge. But Julius Caesar wanted to be appointed as the dictator basically for life. And we've heard that before. And that brought him down. And it brought him down, and he was betrayed by the people closest to him. So we're living in this play that's pretty dramatic, Shakespearean style, and it's got really intense things going on. So you need to keep a perspective that we talked about, stepping back, being centered, being grounded, doing a lot of meditation, grounding exercises, and feeling emotionally detached from all of this so you can keep your own strength. And if you feel like joining our astrology group on Saturday, you can see how these energies will be manifest in your own personal life and how you can best achieve the spiritual and life goals that you want to achieve, and you can ride out this storm. Remember, we are going to come out on the other side, a better country and a better world for all of these tribulations and trials that we're going through. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Well, enjoyed is not the right word. I hope you get something out of this video that is useful to you to help you keep your eye on the star that is your guiding star and your inner light, so you come out of the storm a better person, and we will have a better world when we come through this difficult period. And we will come through it. This too shall pass. You're better mentally prepared for it. You know what's coming down the pike. You know about how long it's going to take. And you know that you know what's going to be the basic trend of events. Yet there will be the feeling you're surprised when it happens, even though you knew it would. So expect that feeling of surprise, because you're going to be surprised. And we're going to live through it and be a better people for it. So I hope to see you again in some of my classes. Please like the video if you got something out of it. Please write a comment. Please share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel, because I'm just getting underway and I need you to help me so that we can continue this endeavor together. Thank you again. Bye now.